Taraba State, let's ascend to the future. Imagine a world where entertainment, transportation, finance and commerce are at your fingertips 247. Welcome to the future. Taraba Business School and Taraba News proudly present a revolutionary lineup of products and services designed to transform your life. Sun TV, your premier 247 destination for local and international entertainment, news and educational content. Come to the broadcast of News Hour on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of World News on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of news across Nigeria on Super Media Television.
This is Sport Daily on Sun TV. Good morning, Nigeria. This is the morning show from Sun TV.
Super Cab, safe, convenient and affordable 247 transportation services across Jalingo and Taraba State. Unlock seamless 247 financial transaction, easy loans and rewarding savings with our innovative mobile banking solution. Taraba Online Market. Buy and sell local and exotic products. Connect with suppliers and grow your businesses 247 with our vibrant e-commerce platform. TBS e-learning. Access a wall of knowledge with our comprehensive online courses and myriad of professional programs. SuperSoft. Unlock exclusive subscription-based services, discounts and reward. Don't miss this groundbreaking products and services. Join us as we all celebrate in the future and experience the future today. Taraba Business School and Taraba News, empowering your future 247. Ascend to the future. Hey Taraba State, let's ascend to the future. Imagine a world where entertainment, transportation, finance and commerce are at your fingertips 247. Welcome to the future. Taraba Business School and Taraba News proudly...
Hello viewers, you are welcome to today's edition of Morning Show on Some TV. My name is Olayinka Gabriel. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome you to this edition of Morning Show. Morning Show is a program where we bring to you live several issues that is happening within our country, the political activities, particularly the review of headlines of major newspapers across the country. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome you to today's edition of the program. I have with me in the studio some gentlemen who I'm sure they are regular face on this program. And with them together this morning, we shall be engaging you in several issues that is happening in our country. I have by my left the Director of News of Some TV, Mr. Ira Daniel Okwe. Welcome to Morning Show.
Thank you very much, sir.
I also have by my right the Director of Programs of Some TV, Mr. Abraham Mena Joda. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to have all of you today on this Morning Show.
Yes, and as you can see, due to the state of emergency declared in Rivers, we have to declare a state of emergency on the Morning Show today.
So today's Morning Show is a state of emergency. Okay, that's to tell you that one of the things that is on the front burner today is Rivers State. As you are aware, the president have declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. We're going to be going to the studio and let's listen to the president and some of the comments and some of the things the president said yesterday while he was declaring the state of emergency, so that maybe it will form the bedrock of some of the things we are going to be saying and we are going to be looking at this morning. So let's listen to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Yesterday, you know, when the news brought up that there is going to be it's a broadcast. So the first thing is everybody was wondering, on the 18th of March, what did the president want to talk about in a national broadcast? So it became, everybody was. But I know people, maybe people that are already in Aso Rock, and
there were speculations that it may declare a state of emergency yesterday, but everybody was not sure what was going to happen.
Okay, so let's have that clip of the president declaring state of emergency.
Exploded, that is the governor, in cohort with 4 members and on court. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly, which up to now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary measures to restore good governance, peace, order, and security. In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly state are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Eboke.
Okay, that is President Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday at a national broadcast where the state of emergency was declared. Let's go into some of the newspaper headline. You know, when I went through the papers today, it's like actually, it's like the state of the issue of state of emergency was the major thing. So if you look at, let's quickly just first of all, because we're going to first of all delve on the issue of Rivers first, then before we go into other issues, because different papers come up with different angles, you know, from, let's start from the Vanguard. Vanguard say river pipeline explosion may cost about 35.3 million loss daily as state of emergency begin. You see how Guardian picked the angle they came from. If you go to this day, Tinubu declared state of emergency in Rivers State. That is the angle of this day. And, you know, this day gives a little details, because he said, suspend Fabra, deputy, State House of Assembly for 6 months. Appoint ex-CNA, that's the Chief of Naval Staff, but as administrator. Explosive rock, 450 oil pipeline, you know, and he talked about police arrest suspect over incident, and Fabra urged calm, say he will face challenge with unwavering faith in democratic process. NBA president don't have power to remove elected governor in state of emergency. These are some of the issues we are going to, the legitimacy of what the president has done. Atiku, Dixon, Monarch condemn action, ask president to fire Wike or call him to order. There is the angle of, because I noticed as the president was saying all that he was saying, did you notice he did not mention Wike in his broadcast or in his statement?
To me, I think Wike is not the is not in the officially
Directly.
is not involved in this matter officially.
How?
Reason why is this: the Supreme Court judgment that if you look at the genesis of the problem officially, it was a fracas between the State House of Assembly and the governor.
But you see, there's what we call a political undertone. And what is political undertone? We all know, as a matter of fact, that the State House of Assembly is not doing what it's doing on its own.
But officially, if the president begins to mention names of parties involved and not the institutions involved. Now, the reason for the state of emergency was a breakdown of order due to the fact that the executive and the legislature cannot function effectively again. That is the reason why the state of emergency was declared, not because there was crisis between some certain individuals. Now, these individuals, they cannot lead on their own. Their crisis cannot lead to a state of emergency being declared. But the crisis between the House of Assembly and the executive. And if you notice, even in all the court cases that led to this, the consolidated 8 cases, there is nowhere, both from the part of the district, that Wike's name was mentioned. If I view in this case, he is just an interested party. Or if you look at it from, he's a medicine interloper and not he's a third party. He's not a direct party to this because it's a crisis between the National Assembly. His name was not mentioned in any of the court cases, but we all know politically he is supporting one part of it. So for the president to mention him is giving credence to the fact that an individual action could lead to that. So what he focused on was the Supreme Court judgment that said that, okay, the House must sit and the governor must, the executive must work with the House to reach that agreement. To me personally, if he mentions Wike, then we are creating a position whereby we make individuals be the sole reasons. The House of Assembly has failed in its duty. That is why they were suspended. The executive also has failed in its duties. That is why they were suspended. Now, and he now said, hey, all other individuals involved, you lumped all of them, both those for Fubara, those for this state, they should come together and ensure that there is peace in Rivers State. That is my own opinion.
But you see, the one of the major arguments is the fact that in the Constitution, there is nowhere in the Constitution that says when you declare state of emergency, you must suspend a democratically elected governor.
Yes, that is going to the background of how the crisis is. The nature of the crisis matters. Though it is not specifically spelled out in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that in the state of emergency, the political office holders, that's the 3 organs of the government, the executive and the legislature should be suspended. But if you look at what is happening the precedents in Plateau State and let me say Ekiti State, where a full-blown state of emergency, full-blown in quote, as compared to the ones that happened in Yobe, Borno, and Adamawa. The way it happened was that in Plateau State there was a crisis, there was wanton killings and destruction of property, lives have been lost, and it was tempted towards a crisis situation that is giving some political undertones. So if you don't remove the political gladiators at that point in time, there is chances that the crisis may degenerate. In Rivers State, threats were being issued by some militant groups, and they make good their threats. This morning there is a report that 2 people were arrested and they were related to the explosion. And these people, in one way or the other, has a tie with militant groups. So I think the step that the president took is actually not captured in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but I think there is a window where the National Assembly gave credence to it. This morning, the spokesman of the National Assembly issued a statement to say House of Representatives was duly consulted, and I think that gives credence to what the president said. He said it has been gazetted and has been sent to the National Assembly. So I think that gives credence to the fact that this state of emergency where the legislators and the executive is being suspended is in order.
You see, one of the things that people have been arguing is the fact that the Constitution is clear when state of emergency should be declared. When there is war, when there is a natural disaster, when there is terrorist attack and the whole place in confusion. The state at which Rivers is, does he actually require a state of emergency at this time?
Let me look at the Nigerian Constitution, Section 305, Chapter 8, Part 2, Section 305. And then let us look at Section 2. We say the president shall immediately after publication. Okay, let me start from 1. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution, the president may by his instrument publish in the official gazette of the government of Federation, issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the Federation or any part thereof. So, Part 2 say the president shall immediately after the publication transmit copies of the official gazette of the government to the Federation containing the proclamation. Okay, now let us look at the conditions in which the president can declare state of emergency.
Yes, that's what is important.
The president shall have power to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency only when A, the Federation is at war.
The Federation is at war, okay?
2, the Federation is in imminent danger of invasion or involvement in a state of war. That's the second condition. 3, that there is actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the Federation or any part thereof to such an extent as to require extraordinary measures to restore peace and security. That is option 3. Then D, there is a clear and present danger of an actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the Federation. E, there's an occurrence of or imminent danger or the occurrence of any disaster or natural calamity. But I think the window the president, because he spoke about threats, the states and they are no longer functioning, the resources, that the allocations can't come in because they can't resolve to pass the budget to do this and that. And there's also danger of people making threats.
Yeah, what we're saying is, what actually is state of emergency?
State of emergency, just like somebody was trying to explain recently, if you just go by the simple dictionary definition, is a situation where the government needs to intervene and suspend.
Where is it in Constitution that you must suspend
a political
elected political office holder? That's the situation.
In the situation in Rivers State where the political office holder is being accused of being a despot, is being accused of being gotten his.
Okay, let's talk to Requincy Mori. Requincy Mori is a political analyst and is an advocate. He's an ambassador. He's a high chief. And he's also a member of the ruling APC. Ambassador Requincy Mori, good morning and welcome to Morning Show on Some TV.
Good morning, Chief Olayinka.
Thank
you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you so much. You were yesterday, the president, who is a member of your party, declared state of emergency in Rivers State and also suspend the governor, the deputy governor, the House of Assembly, and also appointed a chief, a sole administrator for the state. What is your immediate reaction to the action of the president?
I want to commend Mr. President for taking action on Rivers State. According to him, his action is geared towards the reality that there is collapse of government in Rivers State. The legislature and the executive are not working together, and there's a threat of even war and crisis. So, many people are comparing the river issue with the Boko Haram insurgency that made Goodluck Jonathan to declare state of emergency in some states in the north without removing the governor. But this one, it is a fight, it's a political fight that the judiciary has intervened, and it seems to defy solution. So the president is invoking a doctrine of necessity to restore order in Rivers State. So, in as much as we I respect the opinions of those who look at the Constitution, I also have understanding with Mr. President for taking a decision that will restore sanity to Rivers State. But I slightly disagree with Mr. President for not mentioning the role that Nyesom Wike played in that crisis. You know, Mr. President should have displayed himself as a father of the nation. If even temporarily suspending Wike as a minister will have made everybody to understand that Mr. President actually want to solve the problem. But to push for him to push all the blame on Fubara, we see that Mr. President was divisive. He took side with Wike camp, and that provoked a lot of people to invoke a section of the Constitution that deny anybody from removing constituted, elected authority without due process. Member of legislators can be removed from office by recall. A governor can be removed through impeachment. The Constitution is very clear on the process to remove the governor. The Constitution did not give the president the power to suspend or remove the governor. But in a state where we have a situation whereby those that are constitutionally empowered to remove the governor cannot carry out their duties, the president must intervene, of which I agree with him. But in his intervention, he should embrace all the parties, and in his discipline, he should discipline all the parties involved. This is my honest position on the crisis in Rivers State.
Okay, thank you. Some are of the opinion that Wike is not an institution, that what the president was addressing were the institutions that are involved: the office of the governor, the office of the deputy governor, the House of Assembly. Maybe that is the reason why the governor did not, because Wike is not an institution as far as, and even in all the cases involved in which the Supreme Court make a pronunciation, the name of Wike did not appear in any of those things. What's your view about this?
Wike is an institution because the president has sat with Wike and Fubara to resolve their matter. So the president cannot deny not knowing that Wike is part of the problem in Rivers State. Why did he start with Wike and Fubara to reconcile them in the first place? He even make it clear that he has made effort to reconcile them. Why did he start with Wike and Fubara? The point is that when we want to solve problem, we should be frank as possible. So I said I am in support of the decision of the president, but I am not in support of any hypocrisy in the matter, because what one good turn deserves another. What Mr. President is doing, posterity will judge him. As me, I love Mr. President, and I am not comfortable with the way Wike was actually interfering in the university that led to all this crisis. And Mr. President has tried to intervene at the earlier stage, and I know that Mr. President knows that Wike played a major role in all this crisis. Therefore, you should have actually called out the fact that, Mr. President, you have security report. There's no way Mr. President can sit there and say that he doesn't have report concerning this crisis. There's no way. It's only the court that can decide that, since there is no evidence before us, we cannot mention the name of people. But Mr. President, as a chief security officer of the nation, cannot come out and say that he is not aware that Wike is playing a major role in the crisis in Rivers State. As a father, he should have addressed the role that Wike plays and make sure that if he's doing discipline, since they have gone outside the constitution now, he should have, as the father of the nation, he was working his right as the executive president, the executive order, because what he did yesterday is an executive order he worked. Therefore, I disagree with those people that say that Mr. President, that Wike is not an institution, that Mr. President is not aware of Wike's role in a crisis. I disagree. But I agree with Mr. President that he needed to step in, and in stepping in, is going to bring law and order back to Rivers State, because as of yesterday morning, things were getting out of hand as the pipelines were being blown, threatened by the militants. The Ugandan narrative was gradually coming to Rivers State, and as a president, he was stepping, and I support him for stepping in. But for him to step in and become silent over the whole of PK, I'm not comfortable with that. Thank you very much.
Okay, before you go, Ambassador Muri, please, people believe that you can declare state of emergency without removing elected governor, because what some people worried is that this is a governor that is elected by people. This is a House of Assembly that is elected by people. Don't you think that, because the Constitution also that provide for declaration of state of emergency did not talk about removing an elected people from office? What's your view about this?
All right. My view is that the governor has the right to go to court. NBA has the right to go to court to challenge the governor's decision. The PDP Governors Forum has the right to go to court to challenge the governor's decision. But the president, as the father of the nation, also has the responsibility. What the Mr. President did yesterday was in national security, to safeguard the life of the people. It was not an issue of constitution. It's an issue of national security. And let me tell you, even in the U.S., there are times that the Mr. President takes decisions over national security that cannot be questioned by the court. He invoked executive order, and those executive orders temper with the constitutional rights of the citizens. And the constitution permits the Mr. President to do that. If it has to do with the security of the nation and to safeguard life and property, Mr. President has the constitutional power to invoke the executive order to be sure that there is return of law and order in the country. This is my personal view. If the PDP Governors Forum, the NBA, what did they advise Kubara when everything was going bad? Did they step in to say this thing is bad, this thing is bad? They kept quiet. So the Constitution, it do not give any of those. Have taken a decision, which the president is supposed to do. Now, if that decision is against the Constitution, I don't have the power to sit down. I have the power to express my view, but I don't have the power to interpret the Constitution. Let them go to court. Let the court interpret the Constitution for them, whether Mr. President was right or wrong.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Muri, for bearing your mind on Sun TV. Anytime we need it again, we will. Thank you for always being there for us.
Thank you for inviting me to your TV station. Thank you very much.
Now, you can hear the view of Quincy Muri. It seems to align with what we're saying. It seems to contradict what Adam is saying. But at a point, there was a time, the president called all of them together. Even in his speech, he mentioned that, there is a problem. I think you people need to sit together. So for him now, that even if it is suspending Wike as a minister for this particular period of time, he will show us that the president is having a fair play. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, Morning Show will continue. Please don't go away.
A revolutionary lineup of products and services designed to transform your life. Sun TV, your premier 247 destination for local and international entertainment, news, and educational content. Come to the broadcast of News Hour on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of World News on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of news across Nigeria on Super Media Television.
This is Sport Daily on Sun TV. Good morning, Nigeria. This is the morning show from Sun TV.
Supercab, safe, convenient, and affordable 247 transportation services across Jalingo and Taraba State.
Okay, viewers, you're welcome back on this short break. You have been on to the morning show of Sun TV, coming to you live from the city of Jalingo, Taraba State. And I still have in the studio the director of news of Sun TV and the director of program. And we've been bearing our mind on some of the critical issue that is happening in this country, particularly the happening in Rivers State. And we've looked at so many issues as it relates to some of these issues. And right away, we are going to get some legal perspective to some of the issues that we are currently discussing. Joining us live from Abuja is Barrister P.D. Pius. Barrister P.D. Pius is a renowned legal practitioner and also the legal analyst for Sun TV. He's joining us live from Abuja. Good morning, Barrister P.D. Pius.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
You have seen what is happening in Rivers State. The NBA, which is an organization that you belong to as a well-renowned lawyer, has condemned the action and consider it not in agreement with the Constitution. We want to hear your immediate reaction to what is happening in Rivers State.
Well, I don't agree with the NBA president on this point. Okay, what were you expecting the president to do? To fold his hands and just sit down and watch until the country is thrown into a serious confusion beyond repair? You know, the president has to step in at this point because the Constitution gives him the power to declare a state of emergency as stipulated in Section 305 of the Constitution. And if you look at what has happened over the past few months in Rivers State, you will know that the option of declaring state of emergency and suspending the governor and the House of Assembly is the only alternative left on the table, because all other avenues have been explored and then there is no solution to the problem. If you listen to the speech of the president, you discover that as far back as the 13th of December last year, the governor has demolished the House of Assembly to the ground. So there hasn't been House of Assembly since December last year. Okay? Now, can you have a government without the House of Assembly? When the governor destroyed the House of Assembly, demolished it to the ground, the NBA did not make a statement. Is that not unconstitutional? So when the parties, the political actors in Rivers State have brought upon themselves an unconstitutional situation in such a manner that governance become impracticable, then the only alternative left is for the president to declare state of emergency, suspend all of them, and put in place an interim administrator to restore law and order in the state. Because when there is no House of Assembly and there is no governor, there is no governance, you know, it leads to total breakdown of law and order. You can't even pay salaries, you cannot execute projects, you cannot do anything because there hasn't been any budget passed. Can you run a government without a budget? You cannot do so. Okay, because the machinery of government cannot work without spending money. And if the courts have declared that all the budgets that are purportedly passed by 3 members of the House of Assembly is null and void, the 27 House of Assembly members on the other side have not passed any budget for the past 2 years, then you don't have a government. And the Supreme Court has even reached that pronouncement. In fact, the moment Supreme Court gave that decision, I knew that state of emergency is inevitable in the situation. Because if you mind to read the decision of the Supreme Court, one of the key pronouncements is that the Supreme Court came to a conclusion that as it stands, there is no government in Rivers State. That is in the judgment of the
okay, but there are two
government in Rivers State. So if the highest court of the land has looked at all the facts and came to the conclusion that there is no government in Rivers State, and the NBA is expecting the president to allow that situation of no governance in Rivers State to continue ad infinitum, I don't know what they want. Whether they want peace, law and order, or they just want the situation of no governance to continue in Rivers State forever. Because we are all bound by the decision of the Supreme Court. Whether you disagree with it or not, you are bound by it. No matter your level of displeasure with what the Supreme Court have decided, you are bound to follow it. If the Supreme Court have reached a decision that there is no governance, there is no government in Rivers State as it stands, then the only thing to be done is to declare state of emergency so that governance can be restored back to the state.
But the governor made attempts to, in obedience to the Constitution, to present a budget to the...
To present the budget where? That is the question that you will ask. To present the budget where and to present it...
We saw pictures that he was... The house was locked when he was attempting to...
Is it the same House of Assembly that he demolished to the ground, or where? Or is it the house, the personal residence of the speaker, or is it in the government house, or where exactly? Because you are in media, you know, you can go to Rivers State House of Assembly and discover that it has been demolished to the ground. So where exactly did he intend to present the bill? That is why when people are involving themselves in unconstitutional activity, they should be checked. It is not when the situation have gotten out of hand that you now begin to expect some compliance. When he demolished the House of Assembly, did he not know that you need a House of Assembly to present a bill to?
But they have been sitting somewhere.
Look, the pronouncement of the Supreme Court is that as far as the House has been demolished, okay, the House of Assembly has not sat anywhere. So the issue of even their defection does not even arise. You don't have a house, you have stopped them from sitting, then in what way will they now sit for defection to even take place?
They wanted the impeachment notice. They issued shortly.
So that means the impeachment notice is also null and void. Is that what you are saying?
As it is now, the entire House of Assembly and the governor have been suspended until a law and order is restored in the state.
Okay, another thing is you are a lawyer and a respected one. A lot of people hold the view that there is nowhere in the Constitution that said when you declare state of emergency, you must suspend elected officials. What's your view about this? Because the Constitution is clear about when to suspend state of emergency, but what to do when you declare state of emergency is not contained in the Constitution. So it's the view of people that what the president have done is also unconstitutional.
What those that are holding that view with respect are not being truthful to themselves, or they don't want to be logical. All right? It is either you have a governor and the House of Assembly functioning, or you don't have the governor and the House of Assembly functioning with a state of emergency in place. All right? Because you cannot have the two at the same time. You cannot have state of emergency and at the same time have the governor functioning at the same time.
But we have had that in the past.
It's not even logical, not to talk of being constitutional. Because now, if the governor is functioning, then there is no state of emergency. All right? And if the governor is not functioning, then there should be state of emergency. Those are the only things on the table. The Constitution need not state it in black and white for you to now say that, okay, the president has the power to suspend the governor. What then is the essence of the state of emergency? All right? If you will still have the governor functioning, it means the state of emergency is just academic. All right? So the only interpretation you can give to a situation like this is that when a state of emergency is declared, then by necessary implication, the president will suspend the civilian authorities and put in place an administrator that will restore peace, law, and order, pending when the situation improves, and then the other the elected representatives can now be restored back to office. You know, so that is my take on that. And if you look at the Constitution, is a living document. The Supreme Court have given more than 500 decisions on this point. The Constitution is a living document. It's not a static document. The meaning and import of the provisions of the Constitution changes with the progressive development in the society. Its meaning yields newer and fuller import with the progressive development in the society. You don't just say, oh, because it used this particular word and that the word suspension is not mentioned there, therefore the person has no power to suspend. No.
But we have had situation in this country where state of emergency was declared, but the duly elected executives were not suspended. We have
we also had a situation whereby the state of emergency was declared and the elected governor of Plateau State and the House were suspended. And if you look at that decision, in fact, that matter even went to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court even endorsed that suspension, because if you look at it, many people argue that and say, oh, the Supreme Court gave a technical decision. I don't agree. Whatever decision the Supreme Court had given is a decision on the merit. It's not just technical. It's a decision on the merit. Because when Governor Darie was suspended by Obasanjo and the House of Assembly and appointed an administrator, all right, the governor of Plateau State, Joshua Darie, took the matter to court, took the matter to Supreme Court. You understand? And the sole administrator of Plateau State went to Supreme Court and said, look, I am the administrator of Plateau State. I did not authorize anybody to file a case in Supreme Court on behalf of Plateau State. And the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed with him and said, yes, you are the sole administrator duly appointed by the President of Nigeria, and nobody can take action on behalf of Plateau State except you authorize it. Since you did not authorize the filing of this suit, we hereby strike it out. That is a recognition of the powers of the President to appoint a sole administrator and suspend the governor.
Okay, thank you so much, Barrister Pius, for your depth of knowledge and insight into what is happening in Rivers State. We do appreciate your contribution.
Thank you so much.
I think the matter is...
the perspective of a lawyer is so enlightening, that you can't help it but agree with the fact that the president has the power to pursue the path he is pursuing now. Coming to what Chief Quincy Murray said concerning how he will have preferred that Nyesom Wike too be suspended. I think when the president had that meeting with those people from Rivers State, it was not just Nyesom Wike that was invited, even traditional rulers and so many other stakeholders. If you are beginning to suspend, just like Director of Programmation, if you are beginning to suspend Wike, it means you are going to suspend all those traditional rulers too that participated in the meeting. There are so many stakeholders that the suspension should not encompass. That is what I think.
Yeah, but you know, Wike is even you say he's an interested party.
Yeah, to me, I'm not saying Wike should not be punished or
be suspended
by the president. But I think yesterday our broadcast was focused on the institutions involved in Rivers State. Now, if that is done, the president can now go back to his cabinet and look at any member of his cabinet or any individual around that is constituting a problem to what is on ground, then decide to pursue punishment or punitive measures against such individuals. But as far as yesterday was concerned, I prefer it to be issues that will be institutional based. So maybe today he may come back, call a meeting of the Federal Executive Council, call the police, the security agencies. Who are the individuals that have been fueling these issues? Those are causing explosions, those that are creating riots here and there. Okay, if Wike's name is mentioned, yes, he's there as a minister, he's suspended. If there's a need for him to be arrested, he should be arrested. And if there are other, maybe members of the IYC that were making threats and the rest of it, these are medicine interlopers. These are people that shouldn't be involved in that official statement. But after that, investigations can be carried out. Or investigations are already on ground, because I don't think if the security agencies, they don't have reports on them, and that means they've not been doing their job. So those involved now, within this period, should now be sanctioned for their involvement. This statement yesterday does not foreclose
the fact that there could be further investigations.
Into the matter.
I agree with you. But what if somebody like Wike, who is just interested, because so far he is just an interested party. He has not done up to, though he has made statements that has indicated that he is aggrieved with for the removed governor Fubara. But that does not mean to the extent where it has not led to the extent where he constitutes a cock in the wheel.
No, I think Wike's statements have been very, very reckless. I'm not exonerating the president. I'm only saying yesterday's speech doesn't need to evolve. I think the president needs to take action over the actions of Wike and other players in there, both those for Fubara and those for Wike. There are some individuals that have been consistent in this crisis. I think those individuals, after dealing with the institutions, the individuals too need to be dealt with, and Wike will be one of them. And so, as it stands, the state and the House, the state governor and the House, they're out of the picture for the next 6 months. And just like PD Payo saying, now it is quite obvious that there's Fubara, those that tell Fubara to go to court, is going to meet a dead end because there's a precedent.
Yes, already.
Mm-hmm.
There's an administrator.
There's a precedent already that shows that as it stands, he is no longer recognized
as a governor,
as a constitutional authority in Rivers State. So if he's going to the Supreme Court now, he's going as Fubara, the individual, not as governor of Lagos, because based on the Supreme Court ruling on Dariye and Plateau State over their emergency court. But I think this is the area where maybe the NBA should now come in. That there should be a mechanism in place whereby they can approach the Supreme Court to interpret the powers of the president.
Or maybe they should just go further to seeing to it that these parties are reconciled. The president of Plateau State has it that after some time the governor was reinstated.
But if you reconcile them,
yes,
these issues will still come back. If the NBA or parties that have the powers to approach the Supreme Court have approached the Supreme Court during Ekiti or Plateau to spell out. You know, the Constitution was not specific on the powers of the president. To spell out what does the Constitution say.
What should the president do in case of this situation next time? Just
like, you know that now we are beginning to see that when there's lacunas like this or vague interpretations like this, you approach the Supreme Court. So while we are trying to make peace, we should also think of the future. Let the Supreme Court be approached to come up with what is the extent of the powers of the president during state of emergency. And if it comes out and we don't agree with it, we have the National Assembly to look at the Constitution and amend it again.
Okay, let's look at some reactions. We have had a lot of let me call it national reaction. There have been reaction from the CNPP, that is the Association of All Political Parties. There is a reaction from the PDP. There is also reaction from the Fabua himself. APC has also reacted to this situation. And the former presidential candidate of the PDP, talking about Atiku Abubakar, has also reacted to this situation. MBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, has also reacted to this situation. So let's see some of this reaction as contained. Let's start maybe with the CPC. CPC said the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, CPC, has strongly criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the suspension of Rivers State Governor Fubara, his deputy, and the State House of Assembly. The removal as unconstitutional and threat to Nigerian democracy. In a statement released earlier on Wednesday and signed by the Deputy National Publicity Secretary James Azima, the CNPP denounced the suspension as a clear violation of 1999 Constitution, warning that such executive overreach sets a dangerous precedent. The Nigerian Constitution does not grant the president the authority to suspend an elected governor or their deputy. The CNPP states Section 188 explicitly outlined impeachment by the State House of Assembly as the only legal process for removing a sitting governor. President Tinubu's actions are not only unconstitutional but also basing abuse of power. The specifically cited Section 1 or 2 of the Constitution, which prohibit an individual or group from seizing control of any part of Nigeria government outside the constitutional provision. The group further referred to Section 11, subsection 4 and subsection 5, which allow the National Assembly to intervene in state legislature only under extreme circumstances, but does not grant the authority to suspend governors. Additionally, Section 309 grant governors and their deputy immunity from legal proceeding while in office, further raising question about legitimacy of Tinubu's decision. The CPC also questioned the motive behind the president's action. Will the president Tinubu make this decision if Rivers State was controlled by the All Progressive Congress, APC? The group asked, is this an attempt by the APC to seize political control of Rivers State, and why has the president not showed the same urgency address such facing situation, urgent security in other parts of the country? What do you think about CPC's position?
I just like, if you look at some years back when it happened in Ekiti and Rivers and Plateau State, you will find CPC alongside with the ACN, which President Tinubu belonged to then, will take this position, while the PDP will take the opposite position.
Yes, I think I saw one paper where the president himself, when he was the governor of Lagos State, condemned when Obasanjo declared state of emergency in some places. And
while you will see the PDP supporting it.
Yes.
Now the tables are turned. You will now see the APC taking the position of the PDP that year, and now the PDP taking the position of So the thing is that we always try to look at this based on our sentiments and political
alliance,
that is the reason why we keep having issues. We don't look at things without sentiments. Now, I would have expected to see the coalition of the
political parties
when this crisis started. I think where the unconstitutionality started was not when they were having this fracas, it is normal, but when the State House of Assembly was demolished. That was a grave abuse of power.
But what reason did he give when the house was demolished? Was it under?
I think they
want to renovate.
When he demolished the House of Assembly on the pretext in code that he wants to renovate it, he provided an alternative place for them to be able to sit and do their business of the day as the Rivers State House of Assembly.
That quarters where they were sitting, that he wanted to go and present budget, and who provided it?
As a matter of fact, from what P.D. Pius said, whatever decisions, even the 27, whatever they are doing, is not recognized by the Constitution. It's null and void. Both the serving of the impeachment is null and void, because it's just like me and someone sitting somewhere, maybe by the roadblock, and we say it's Sun TV Studios. It is not Sun TV.
Okay, let's see what APC said, because APC too has issued statement. APC defend emergency rule in Rivers, blame Fabura. All Progressive Congress has defended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, insisting that Governor Simeon Fabura is solely responsible for political crisis that led to the intervention. In a statement issued on Tuesday, APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka accused Fabura of dismantling democracy in the state, citing his demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly and the governance without legislative oversight as action that rendered the state ungovernable. When he brazenly demolished the House of Assembly, FOBRA destroyed the very foundation of democracy in the state. When the governor, the state without a legislative, FOBRA ended governance in the state. When he expanded state fund without valid legislative appropriation, FOBRA stripped himself of all constitutional protection of the office of the governor, the statement read. Muka argued that the governor cannot function without a coexistence of the executive, legislative, and judicial arm, stressing that FOBRA action left the state in unconstitutional limbo. There cannot be a governor without a legislator and the judiciary. You see the position of APC?
Well, it goes to some extent to indicate how they are actually in support of the member of the political party who made that decision. They couldn't have said something otherwise. I'm not surprised that APC is making this statement. It is naturally not possible for them to say what is on the contrary. So that is the way it is. There is no way they will have said what the president did was wrong and this and that and that and that. Ordinarily, they'll blame FOBRA and take advantage of the fact that he has made one mistake or the other and capitalize on it and establish that what the president did is correct.
That insisting, of the fact that governance, we all grow up to know that governance is about three arms of government: the legislative, the judiciary, and the executives. And from all indication of what everybody is looking at, the first person that has made the state to be unconstitutional is the governor himself, by demolishing the House of Assembly and by not reconstructing another one.
Yes, because if you look at it, maybe I may be wrong, I may be right, but based on what, at the legal perspective of PD Pius, right from the moment whereby the House of Assembly was demolished, and there was, constitutionally, there was no sitting of the House again. So at that point, the House of Assembly has been suspended, has not been functioning since then, in the eye of the law. Now, there are some decisions that the governor will take and it will not be null and void, like in the area of the budget, that when it was the budget of 2024. But as soon as the budget of 2024 elapses, any financial decisions he takes after then is null and void. And any other decisions he takes that needs ratification of the House of Assembly, like the elections, like the commissioners, is null and void. So as it stands, for months,
there have been some
illegality has been going on. So I think what we need now is for the parties to sit down. This is where now the leaders of thought, I will call on, like I keep saying, the leaders in Rivers State should stop taking sides. They should sit down and look at it. Now, this is where we are. Where should we go to? We need peace. There's a need for all of them to sit down at the round table. And to even make matters worse, they were all members of the same party.
But is it possible for an argument to be followed on the part that there was an existing House of Assembly, since House of Assembly is not a building? House of Assembly should be human beings who decide to sit in a place where there is a maze and all those technicalities being attached to their sitting. Now, the governor himself wrote a letter to Amewule, Martins Amewule, House of
faction
Assembly.
of the, or the speaker.
Yes, after the judgment of the Supreme Court, he wrote a letter addressed to them. And though they said they've not received any letter like that, all those. At that point, nobody was mentioning the fact whether there was an existence of House of Assembly or not. So I want to know whether it is possible for us to argue on the fact that there is an House of Assembly. Even when that one was demolished, there was an existing House of Assembly that decides to sit in a particular place that is recognized by the law. Is it possible for that to be?
Well, if you argue that direction, yes, we may do it academic exercise, just like all the actions they were all taken as speaker. I write letter to you. It has now shown that it is just mere academic. I think what we need to do as a nation now is to quickly approach the the Supreme Court to interpret the powers of the president when it comes to emergency rule. And then there are some gray areas also that we don't need to wait for crisis. This is where I blame the NBA or those. You don't need to wait for crisis like this. We've had history of emergency rule. We've seen, just like we said, you talked about emergency rule with governor, state house of assembly. PDP said we've also had emergency rule. Must we wait for, we are not proactive as a nation. Must we wait for crisis before we ask for the interpretation of the, it will always come. It may not come in 2 years, may not come in 3 years. So what we need to do instantly now, instead of us making speculations, is begin to advocate that the Supreme Court should interpret where the powers of the president starts and ends when it comes to, does he have power to suspend elected officials? Who and who can he suspend? What really constitutes a state of emergency? I think we should need to broaden the discussion towards that direction, because I'm telling you, now we've remembered state of emergency again. You know, it seems like something that we forgot to remember. And now that we remember, watch out, some states will take steps towards declaring state of emergency. Or our politicians, they will ensure they create crisis in such a way
that state of emergency
will occur. So, you know, Nigerians...
I saw somebody, the Attorney General of Taraba State, in one of his posts, he said, what happened in River is scripted and act, and now we are watching the movie. Okay, now away from River State, let's look at other issues and headlines in some of the dailies of today. I think we have effectively analyzed what is happening in River State. So let's now look at other issues as contained in today's paper. Let's start with the Guardian. EFCC blame corrupt politician fraudsters for national bad image abroad.
Well, the EFCC is right to an extent to blame fraudsters and national politicians. But I think it is, to me, it is the policies of bad politicians that led to the fraud to be prevalent in Nigeria. If you have good policies, if you play good politics, you have good politicians, you'll be able to create policies that will ensure that people are gainfully employed, that people obey rule of law, that people are not hopeless. Because if you look at it, I'm not trying to hold fault for the fraudsters, because everybody can decide to go into fraud.
Do you know what like a 419 is known all over
the world as an Nigerian word?
And 419 is in our constitution. Is it our criminal for section 419 of the Criminal Act? So Nigerians are known to be that.
As a matter of fact, outside the country, they will ask you, "Are you a Nigerian prince?" The fact that you are a Nigerian prince means that you are a 419. You are a 419 guy. So the thing is that our policies over the years have made Nigerians to come to the position whereby they decide to do all manners of fraudulent things to ensure that they participate in the national cake. So if you have good leaders, they have good policies, the society will regenerate itself to believe even the fact that my country's name is being soiled. You know, there's no patriotism. They say my country's name is being soiled for the negative things we do. So, but if we believe in the country, I'm telling you, a lot of people, if they believe in the country, they have the patience to wait for the right job, for the right opportunity. But once they don't believe in the country, they will try to look for ways to make ends meet.
Okay, let's look at another headline on the Guardians. Senate brace for backlash as social media bill scale second reading. A lot of people don't like this social media bill.
Well, I don't have the details of the bill, but I think social media has come to stay. It is part of
the bill is aimed
world.
to regulate some of the activities of social media. Some see that there will be some advantage, particularly, you know, we've had a issue of fake news. Everybody now that has Android phone, recently we had a situation where somebody sent in a Twitter message where he said this was what Obasanjo advised Fabra. Obasanjo has come out to deny that he has never been to Rivers in recent time, and he has not made any comment as far as Rivers State is concerned. And this particular news went viral. There was a news that even one of our reporters picked and sent to the editorial room that Rivers State, River Governor's house has been demolished and set on fire. So this bill, it has its own advantage and its own disadvantage.
Well, if it is a bill that is being pursued to regulate some of these excesses that is being manifested on the social media, then I think it is a good thing. It should be sustained. It's just that caution has to be taken so that it doesn't infringe on freedom of information, the Freedom of Information Bill, and the freedom of speech of every Nigerian. But if it is a bill that is targeted towards checking the bad aspects of the usage of social media, then it is a good thing. Fake news has not helped anybody in this country, just like we're talking with the director of programs on pornography and other things like that. There is a need for this to be checked at this point in time so that it doesn't escalate to the state where the freedom of speech is being infringed upon. But if it is solely targeted at the fact that it is going to check excesses and see to it that whosoever fly information that is not really true and is not factual and is with the purpose of creating mischief in the society should be penalized, then it is a good thing. But there is this aspect of the social media that I want to draw attention to. There's this thing they call trending, and at times if you create information, whether it is true or lie, so long as it trends, you have some benefits to it. So at times people create this hoax information that has the propensity to trend.
To trend, yeah.
So at the end of the day,
they'll have more likes, more views.
And there is this monetization that it becomes like a way of raising funds for yourself if you have a lot of followers and you have a lot of likes. So there is a need for a line to be drawn between the illegality and the legality of the usage of social media.
Okay, let's go to Punch now. Libya to deport over 170 Nigerians. It's like the citizens in Libya, they are not finishing.
Yeah,
they are to deposit 170.
I think the reason why we keep having Nigerian citizens in Libya, despite the crisis in Libya, it's not because they really want to live in Libya.
It's a route.
It is a route.
Those to some of these Europe countries.
From Nigeria or other African countries to Italy. Libya is the stop whereby they now cross the Mediterranean Sea to Italy, and they look at Italy wants to get to Italy, it is Uhuru for them. So they go through all manners of things in Libya. There's child trafficking there, there's molestation, they take them into prostitution, there's slave trade. There's slave trade in Libya. As they kidnap people or they take people and they sell them into slavery and they farm their way out of that slavery. So these Nigerians, it is not as if they want to stay in Libya. Libya is a stopgap from where they are to Europe that they want to go to. I think there should be a joint African AU mission that will tackle this movement of people through the desert to Europe. It's becoming an humanitarian issue. A lot of people have died in the desert. A lot of people that you say you can't find them anymore. And this thing is done in the open. Everybody knows where they take the trucks from Kano to Niger Republic, where the journey starts. So we need to have a concerted African Union effort to curb this humanitarian crisis that we are staring at.
Yes, and I wanted to mention this perspective I want to take now during the statement of EFCC saying the image of Nigeria abroad is not well. It is what we have in the inside that is being reflected outside. If a government from the home front is capable of providing a conducive environment where these people have no need to travel to where they consider a greener pasture place, then there is no need for people to go through. I was watching that other day on TV, how people who were trekking through the desert became weak and couldn't even move again, that the military had to go and rescue them and bring them back. And you will see there are instances where after this rescue, some of them will even attempt to go back again. So I wonder what is the drive? Why will I allow myself to go into such stress? Is it that there is nothing for you to do in this country that will make you survive, that you have to undergo that kind of stress to Europe?
If the jackpot spirit bites you, I'm telling you, you will not want to stay in Nigeria. I've seen people sold properties, businesses worth 50 million to travel out of the country. I just pray that the jackpot spirit does not hook you.
Amen.
We may just say
that he wants to jump up.
At all costs.
At all costs.
You can join some of this conversation regardless of where you are joining us from. We would like to know how you feel about some of the things that we're discussing on Morning Show today. We've said so much about the happenings in Rivers State, and we've also, so depending on the medium you are joining, if you are joining us on Facebook, Sun TV is live on Sun TV on Facebook. You can comment on Facebook. We'd like to hear your feedback. And if you are on YouTube, we are live on Sun TV Live. And if you are watching us on any of the decoder, be it CSAT, PSAT, and any of the free-to-air decoder, you can send us a WhatsApp message. We may not be able to entertain calls now, but you can send us a text message. You can send us a WhatsApp message, and we'll be glad to know from where you are watching us from. So a text message or a WhatsApp message, we will be glad to know where you are watching us from and what you think about some of the things that we are talking about. So feel free to send us a WhatsApp message. Feel free to send us a text message on 0704 919 8503. 0704 919 8503. So we'll be glad to know that you are listening to some of the things we are doing live from Sun TV. So feel free to send us your WhatsApp message, and also free to send us your text message. We will be really glad to know that you are listening to us, and particularly where you are listening to us, and some of your view over some of the state and the national issue that we are discussing. We're going to end the show at this moment. We have a lot even on so many headlines that we will not be able to take because of we spend a lot of time discussing what is happening in Rivers State. So don't go away. The Pidgin section of the morning show will continue immediately after now. I want to sincerely appreciate the Director of News, Mr. Ira Okwe, and Mr. Abraham Maynard Joda, for your thoughts on some of the things that we have discussed.
The state of emergency. The sole administrator
So it was a state of emergency that was declared.
Yeah, which is
we also want to thank Quincy Muri, who joined us from Lagos to bear his mind, and also Barrister P.D. Pius, who joined us live from Abuja to bear his mind on some of the things we are discussing. So don't go away. The Pidgin section of Morning Show will continue. I remain your host, Olayinka Gabriel. Bye for now. Please wait for our Pidgin section.
Great Taraba State, let's ascend to the future. Imagine a world where entertainment, transportation, finance and commerce are at your fingertips 247. Welcome to the future. Taraba Business School and Taraba News proudly present a revolutionary lineup of products and services designed to transform your life. Sun TV, your premier 247 destination for local and international entertainment, news and educational content. Come to the broadcast of News Hour on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of World News on Super Media Television.
Welcome to the broadcast of news across Nigeria on Super Media Television.
This is Sport Daily on Sun TV. Good morning, Nigeria. This is the morning show from Sun TV.
Supercab, safe, convenient and affordable 247 transportation services across Jalingo and Taraba State. Unlock seamless 247 financial transaction, easy loans and rewarding savings with our innovative mobile banking solution. Taraba Online Markets. Buy and sell local and exotic products. Connect with suppliers and grow your businesses.
My country people, una good morning. I dey throw away salute to una as usual. And I no go forget to welcome una to the pidgin section of our newspaper headline review. As this in our section where we dey knack una tori on things where they happen for inside the country. Even no self obodo yibo matter we dey carry knack una for this morning show. things wey dey happen for our community and our society. My name na Esther Oka Stephen, and with me this morning on my right hand side na Auntie Faith Apollo. So Auntie, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, madam.
Okay, on my left hand side na Auntie Mercy Jero. Auntie Mercy, welcome this morning.
Thank you very, very much. Good morning.
Okay, my country people who are something wey dey happen for inside we country na carry me sit down for here this morning concerning Copper Rita for Lagos State where they serve for that place. People for inside we country don chook mouth for inside that matter. And I myself go also chook mouth for inside the Rita matter this morning. Okay, my country people, na sabi wetin happen for social media concerning Rita. Where Rita come outside to come begin dey pour out her mind, yo. Talk say things don hard for inside we country. Say to serve for Lagos State no come easy for them at all, yo. Say even self prices of things come high where she comot to go market. Come begin dey talk say she no enjoy how things dey take go for inside we country. Wey sotey she come bring one kind grammar come outside say Mr. President dey terrible. Oh, my country people, that one come shock me sake of say we wey be there for inside the Naija, any of una complain say president is terrible. All of us dey enjoy the paroles, all of us dey go on. Even say Rita come outside say hardship dey. Country people, una sure say una feel this hardship? Now you took up and I come outside to come dey talk this one, yo. As una sabi say since wey president come outside to come begin dey rule us, nobody complaining, everything dey go normal. Even itself this ruling come make us sabi home management. Abi how dey take dey talk am home economic, my country people, since president dey rule. Because sabi even office economic, even self market economic, even self farmers too come get their own farming economic. Not about transportation side nko. Anybody complain? Nobody complain, my country people. So Rita don come outside now come talk her mind. And Naija people, many of them come begin dey talk, they do anyhow say Rita don overdo. Rita don come outside to come talk say president dey terrible. Say Rita no supposed to come outside to come talk that kind thing. Now that one now come make me carry Auntie Mercy consider with me this morning say make she come chook mouth for inside this matter concerning the thing where Rita don come outside to come talk. Because of say be like say we country people we dey enjoy how the goings take dey go for inside we country. Auntie Mercy, this thing when e be say Rita come outside to come talk, e make sense at all. Because of say e get one thing when I come here say after she don come talk say things e hard for inside Lagos State, for inside Nigeria, she come talk say Lagos State e too dirty. That word wey she talk concerning Lagos State, people say Lagos State e too dirty. For the whole Nigeria na only Lagos State too dirty.
Well, personally, she just express her mind. She just, she dey say how the thing be for her heart. So I don't understand why people just dey attack her left, right, center. They just dey give her gas. But me, personally, she just want to express herself. Even every state gets in dirty place.
Okay.
Yes, that the citizens where they inside, they actually obey the rules where they thought say keep so state clean. No be every we know even they get places where they dirty. So the girl just come out to say Lagos State they dirty, but everywhere they just they insult her. They talk say why she go talk that kind of thing. Now freedom of speech where she use the same rights way we all as citizens have. Now she use and talk the kind of talk where she talk. But me, I know we really support. Maybe she just they talk and more like she they advocate say may they continue to they keep Lagos clean. So now in my own my own side view. Yes, my own view.
Okay, my country people now don't hear am for Auntie Mercy mouth. She said that one when it be say Rita come as I come to say Lagos State is dirty, say she not too bad do that one because every state for inside the country gets places when it dirty for inside it. Okay, Auntie Faith, me want to make you put mouth for inside this matter concerning wetin Rita talk, especially that hardship one where she talk say even crate of egg, because you get one when I read it for social media where she say she go to buy crate of egg and she come see say the thing don over increase. You dey feel any hardship for inside we country? Abi you dey enjoy how the system take dey go?
The problem is say everybody dey feel am. And everybody is entitled to you get freedom of speech. You go say wetin dey your mind, but consequence dey. For her to come out and talk about president na him be first for Nigeria. So e get some kind of word wey if you go dey talk, no be everything you go dey come social media come dey talk because you go line yourself for gbese. Now she come say president na terrible person. If president wan take this matter reach another level now, e go implicate the girl. So I know say everybody dey face hardship, everybody dey do, but e get how you go comot social media come express yourself. No be by insulting or using words that are not supposed to be. Do you get? So I know, I feel her pain. Coppers, 33 no go do anything as a copper now. How much wait till you go transport compared to Lagos transport, food and everything. So make she just try say make government comot as make them do something because they don't talk say they go act alawi for them. So make she just say make them abeg, make them consider coppers now. What she do now? It go make our president now may increase. Because the make president no vex this word which she use terrible. Because if na me now you can't say I be terrible person, I no go feel good now. But everybody they feel the hardship. So you get how you go put your statement
from school. Sake of say money to take go to school no day. Now from them now a member of Educare come jam this Chibuzo for road. Now from there Chibuzo life you can't take it better. My country people. Now this Educare member come talk say him go sponsor Chibuzo, say them go sponsor Chibuzo all through his educational time. They go sponsor him through his education career, my country people. So I see this one now, say make I carry con nakuna because this thing where this member of Educare do for inside the Enugu, it touch me well and it sweet me for body. Sake of say many youth to many small children them dey outside for there they walk, they run up and down. But the thing where they be say we thank God for free education, but meanwhile many states they no see opportunity of this free education. Now from there obedience of a Chibuzo from house na can land am good luck. Even self members of the Educare they come to us say dem go dey pay in school fees through his parents since the boy he no get his account. Say they go dey pay all his school fees through his parents, then from there his parents go dey pay the school fees for the child. Auntie Mercy, I take see this matter, e no sweet you?
Sweet me sweet me well. Based on say, you know, they say training begins at home. Like this boy now good training.
Charity, yes.
Charity begins at home. I'm sorry. So this boy now he don't get better home training. You understand? Talk of say they no get him, but the way the parent train him, in go outside. Maybe the way in they sell in product, in they sell the pure water, people they like him, in they dey respectful. You know, say some people know say hardship day, problem day, hot sun. Under that whole process of selling something, you just be frustrated. You no go know when you go just disrespect person. You no go even know say na your destiny helper.
So
this boy now, thanks to his parents for training him well, that he was able to even relate, you know, that relationship where he go give to customers. Now he come make and go jam
better person
in destiny helper. So this one are good news. And to everybody where they there, if you get something, try to the extent that they help other people. Because as they say, all fingers no dey equal. More just try to help. Country just hard.
Okay, Auntie Faith make you chook mouth for this matter before I go conclude them.
Wetin the healthcare person do na better thing. Maybe una dey help less privilege. Those people wey show interest say they want to do something. Like this small boy now, he see in artwork wey help am. And if you say he no show interest, like he want go school, or he want come up sell pure water, pay his school fees. That one no good. That healthcare person no go help am now. But for that person to come out to help less privilege like this, na better thing. God bless that man. And may God continue to open doors for him. Now later I go talk.
Okay, Educare member for Enugu State, we don thank una for una effort towards Chibuzo and his family. My country people, those children where they as when e be say na so disobedient na full for inside una body. Una don see am for Chibuzo now. Make una dey obey una parents, hardship dey everywhere. Most of una when means no dey to get food, mama give una something say make una go sell. Una go say I be big boy, I no fit to do am. People go see me, they go laugh at me. See Chibuzo now. Grace don come knack Chibuzo for there. So una can see somebody now don dey to sponsor Chibuzo all through his education time. Okay, my country people, now for here we go draw the curtain of the pidgin section of our newspaper headline review. I thank una for watching. My name is Esther Oka Steven.
24/7 with our vibrant e-commerce platform. TBS e-learning access a wall of knowledge